Recycling West Africa style. Consumer electronics smashed, sorted and the valuable metals extracted. This is Agbogbloshie, Accra, where technology goes to die. Workers here are smelting, feeding fires with TV casings and fridge interiors, a heat fierce enough to burn the insulation off electrical cables. So what are you looking for when you're doing this?
When I'm doing this, I'm looking for copper.
A fingertip search through the ashes gleans scraps of metal that are then sold on. Take-home pay between €5 and €7. The men and boys working here, and they range between 13 and 35 years old. They're not from Accra, they come from the north of the country, and they came here on a sort of gold rush, promised riches from waste. But the riches turned out to be a pittance, and the gold turned out to be lead, cadmium and other heavy metals lodged in their bodies and slowly poisoning them.
We have problems because if you didn't bath, or maybe if you bath finished, it will just be paining your body unless you get some medicine.
Hanan is just 17 years old, taking medicine to work in an environment so toxic that even some of the boys here refuse to touch the river running through the site.
And you could see the smoke also. The smoke is also traveling. At any place that it deposits these heavy metals or the people there can be contaminated. The soil itself, you could see is hugely contaminated just by your sight.
Time to leave Agbogbloshie and head with Vincent to Ghana's Atomic Energy Commission. The lab has performed a battery of tests on soil from the site. They found cadmium 30 times over acceptable levels. It can cause cancer, kidney failure, bone disease. Levels of lead, which attacks the nervous system, topped 100 times the recommended maximum dose. You wouldn't live here?
I would not advise anybody to live there. Meanwhile, this place has been classified as one of the most pollutant or contaminated sites in the world.
The processing at Agbogbloshie is fed by the illegal traffic of e-waste into Ghana. Today, used TVs from Australia and Spain are being loaded onto waiting trucks. There's nothing wrong with importing used tech if it works. If it doesn't, it's hazardous e-waste, and it shouldn't be here. So how many of these TVs actually work? And they all work?
Yeah,
they all function?
Yeah, 99% are working.
100%?
About 99.
99%? How big is 1%?
How big is 1%? Very, very small.
Ghana is working on legislation to prevent illegal e-waste imports, but it's taking time as legislators don't want to curb the legitimate trade in used tech.
We do have some of the equipment that functions when it is imported into the country. So what the drafters are seeking to do is to ensure that they don't end up preventing the valuable trade in used electric and electronic equipment.
In the meantime, young men and boys will continue to stoke the fires at Agbogbloshie and pay a heavy price with their health for a handful of change.